What's going on, guys? Waco from Evolution on behalf of Jeremiah Chan and myself. First, let us just say Happy Chinese New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
A very happy year of the rabbit. May it bring prosperity to you and may you live long and prosper. And that's a little bit of a clue to what we're launching today. But first, let's give a shout out to our buddy Rajiv. How are you, sir?
Fine.
He's visiting us from Dubai and he's helping us with the technical setup. He's actually directing this video. So thank you. Rajiv, if you tell us if you want us to do anything in particular, you need more action, less action, you want to change up the angles, just let us know, okay? Cool. So guys, it gives us great pleasure to announce our latest collaborations with Vulcain watches and a guy named Romaric André, who I consider to be the sort of Marcel Duchamp / merry prankster of the watch world.
Right. I remember when I first learned about Romaric, right, and his nom de guerre, Seconde Seconde, right? It was a collaboration he did with Moser for their Endeavour Center Seconds concept. And obviously Moser has a very minimalist style, and what he did was he replaced the hour hand with a pixelated eraser, as if to say, I'm erasing all the hour indexes and all the markers, and it's just like you only see the time, right? And I thought it was hilarious.
Absolutely, I think that's what he's really clever at. So, you know, he did a wonderful watch with our buddy George Bamford as well. And when he heard the word Bamford, he thought bad form, you know? So as a result, he decided to put a hand on the watch that is kind of telling you to F off. Never mind. I won't actually do the gesture. I'll let you Google it. And I think that's what's really clever about him is he approaches watches from, a really entertaining, onomatopoeic, but like sort of witty kind of like direction. He takes a watch and he brings through a little bit of nuance to the changing of a few hands, a completely different dimension and completely different humor to it that kind of gives it a really cool cultural and social relevance. So Romaric, we love you, dude. So he's also made some other cool watches that we love. He made recently a collaboration with Time and Tide for the Nevada Chronomaster. He also made a Messina, a big eye chronograph as well.
It literally looks like their eyes on the chronograph, right?
Exactly. So I mean, it's incredibly witty. And then when you look at some of the stuff that he's done for his own Instagram page, he'll take like an Omega Speedmaster and he'll put like a lightsaber for like the seconds hand as well. Yes. And I'm not sure if Omega will ever make that, but if you do, that would be awesome.
We can only hope.
But our collaboration today is based on the Vulcan Cricket. And, let me just first say, Guillaume Laidet is a friend of mine. He's the guy who has revived this brand. He's also the guy behind Nevada Grenchen as well.
And Excelsior Park.
And it is also Excelsior Park. So I kind of think of him as being the equivalent of James Brown in music. He's like the hardest working man in show business. Yeah. Well, Guillaume Laidet is clearly the hardest working man in modern horology. He has become kind of a specialist in revivalism, right? So he's taken Nevada Grenchen, a brand that languished in obscurity for a long time, and he's kind of brought it back and came with some really cool watches, including the Chronomaster and the Deathmaster that we did together with him as well.
The No Barracuda.
Yeah,
we love that watch.
But when it came to Vulcain, which is a watch that a watch brand that had risen in popularity in the kind of mid 2000s and then kind of like disappeared for a while, he wanted to bring the band back to its original roots. And so tell us a little bit about the Vulcan Cricket and what it means to you, Jeremiah.
Well, I think if we go all the way back to the origins of the company, well, it was founded in 1858, if I'm not mistaken, by Jacques Dittichheim, right? And at the time, the company was named after the family, right? So Jacques had three sons, Maurice, Gaspard, and Aaron, I believe. And it was Maurice's son, right? So Jacques' grandson, who renamed the company from the Dittichheim watch company to Vulcain, which actually sounds like the Roman god of fire.
Was it also because Dittichheim is a little bit hard to pronounce?
Probably. But I mean, Vulcan is just so much more evocative as a name, you know what I mean?
Powerful,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So there was a name change in 1900. But we talked about the cricket's history specifically. It was Ernest Albert, right? Maurice's son, and Ernest Albert's son, Robert Dittichheim, who developed a prototype called the Caliber 120. It would take 5 more years of research and development before we'll see the first cricket in production in 1947. And besides the Rolex day date, right, I think the cricket is also the other watch that's most associated with the US presidents. Like in 1953, the White House Press Photographers Association famously presented Harry Truman with a watch, and it had a special engraving on the back which said, "One more please," because Truman liked to call out to photographers and ask them to take one more photograph of him. It's
Oh, really?
kind of pretty self-obsessed. I don't know.
I always thought that it was the press corps that was asking him for one more.
Oh, really?
But it's funny. It would be funny if it was him, like saying,
I don't know.
he was clearly, an early precursor to the era of Instagram.
Yeah, completely.
And what was really interesting about the caliber that was used for the Vulcan Cricket was many people had tried to make a mechanical alarm watch at that time, but the way they got around it and made it actually reliable was to have two barrels, one of which was used for the timekeeping and one which was used for the alarm function, because if you use a single barrel for both of these, the depletion of the energy stored in the mainspring would cause an underlying effect on the timekeeping accuracy. Correct, sir?
Yeah, completely. And so these current models, obviously, they're not powered by the caliber 120, but the V10. So again, a double barrel movement, like you said, one for timekeeping, one for the alarm, 42-hour power reserve, and I think they look amazing. And we're not just launching one; we have four. We are double wristing today.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that when Guillaume sent the prototypes of the watches to us last year, we were really blown away by the Cricket, right? Because what he wanted to do was make a watch that was like truly historically accurate. And when you looked at it, it was just great. It was just really all the thematic like charm of those watches that were originally launched back in the era. And so you have two versions of it. You had one that's called the Tradition, right, and one called the Classique.
Yeah.
The Tradition had applied indexes, and the Classique had like luminous indexes as well. But what was really interesting to me was that the very first watch that he dropped was 36 mm in diameter, which interestingly, I think so many people are now interested in watches in that case size, but to have the courage to be like, you know what, I'm not going to make it in 39, I'm not going to make it in 40, I'm going to make it in 36. Like, I love the courage behind that.
Yeah, completely. I think there's a trend right now moving towards smaller size watches. So
Huge.
36, 34, maybe even 33.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He subsequently dropped the second version, it was also in 39. So now you have the opportunity to have either a 36 mm Cricket or a 39 mm Cricket. And today we're offering you both. So this is a story about the Vulcain Cricket times Seconde Seconde times revolution. We spoke to Romaric André and said, listen, dude, we want to work with you. And he said, well, I have a friendship with Guillaume Laidet. I said, that's great. And I have an idea for a Vulcain Cricket. And so we said, bro, what's your idea? And he said, well, I love playing with names. And when I hear Vulcain, I hear the word Vulcan.
From Star Trek.
Exactly. And I said, wait, hang on, are you Trekkie? He said,
Yeah.
he's a huge Trekkie, as is Guillaume, as am I as well. And he said, well, what's your idea? He said, listen, the first thing that comes to mind when I hear the word Vulcan is the Vulcan Salute, right?
There we go.
So we want to tell you where this symbol came from. So that symbol is half of this, which is a symbol for an ancient blessing from a religion. And Leonard Nimoy took that half of it and he used it as his symbol for live long and prosper. Yeah. And since then, it has become sort of synonymous with this concept of live long and prosper, right? So much so that when he found out about his passing, Leonard Nimoy's passing, Barack Obama actually posted a photograph of himself saying like this, live long and prosper. Yeah. And what I really like about it, it's just this wonderful and sort of international symbol of positivity, right? After the kind of crazy and tumultuous, now 3 years that we've been through since the pandemic, sort of changed the face of the planet and changed the face of human culture forever, the idea of a watch encouraging you to live long and prosper is really charming to me.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're offering it in 4 different colors, right?
Yes.
In yellow and green for the 36 millimeter,
that's right.
And blue and red in 39.
That's right. So we have yellow and green in 36, and in both are Tradition watches, but they have applied gold indexes.
Yes.
And then in the 39 mm version, which we have in blue and red here, it's also a Tradition watch, but with these rhodium, silver indexes instead, which makes it feel a little bit more contemporary. But then what you see is a running seconds hand in the center of the watch, showing you the Vulcan Salute. You also have the pointer for the alarm function in a matching colorway as well. And then it comes with 2 straps. So you have a black alligator strap, but you also have these beautiful color thematic straps as well in calf that match the hands too. And if you're asking why it is that we have it in blue, gold, green, and red, well, this is also an homage to the uniforms that were in Star Trek, right?
Yes.
Star Trek, which I guess one of the reasons why we all love this show so much is that even in the context of the sort of mid to early 60s, it was already a show that like encouraged humanity to sort of like be more conscious of the planet. It encouraged humanity to accept races in a very international way. It encouraged it just encouraged us to be better people.
Yeah, I remember. George Takei was a big star as well. Part of the cast, like you say, multiracial, multicultural crew. And
exactly.
in the context of that time, it was not that common to have something like that.
I mean, it was completely mind-blowing, actually. So that, you know, when you were like, okay, who's going to be staffing the spaceship that's like going into the future? Like, oh my God, there's people of every ethnicity.
Yes.
Right? And I think that for my perspective, even when I was a kid, when I saw that, I was like, that's really cool, right? Like, I just love that. So anyway, these are the 4 watches that we've launched. We like to think that every time you see the hand turning around, it reminds you to live long and prosper. And every time you set the alarm function and you hear it ringing, it is a reminder for you to, in fact, live long and prosper.
We should probably show you guys how the alarm function works. So I'm going to take off the green one over here. So this crown is a multi-purpose crown. It's used to wind both the standard barrel in a counterclockwise fashion, and in the clockwise direction, you wind the alarm. So let me just wind it fully.
So actually, that's very important to know also, like as soon as you get your cricket, if you start winding it in like what the direction that you normally think of, which is clockwise, and it hits immediately, like it stops, there's nothing wrong with your watch. What it means is that the barrel for your alarm is fully wound. So you're good to go with that. However, if the watch is not moving and you're going to be like, wait a second, why is this not moving, but my watch is like, also not running, it's because the barrel for the timekeeping is actually wound counterclockwise.
Exactly.
So you got to wind them both, right?
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to press this pusher here, which activates the setting of the alarm. And you can see immediately the crown pulls out.
Pops up automatically, right?
Exactly.
Like, I love that. So it's very intuitive to use.
And then you wind it only in one direction. It can only be wound in one.
You wind the crown clockwise to activate the alarm indicator. However, the alarm indicator will travel in a counterclockwise direction around the dial until it aligns with exactly the time that you want your alarm to ring.
Yeah, so you can see a white printed alarm scale in 10-minute intervals. So let's say we'll do it.
Pretty accurate already.
Yeah,
10
it is.
minutes,
It is. Yeah. So let's say we'll do 3, 10. So past the 3 o'clock marker here.
Yeah.
And then I'll just push it back in. Again, pull it back out to adjust the time,
right?
To forward the time, just for demonstration purposes. And you can see, as I'm about to hit 3:10, the alarm goes, and that's 25 seconds.
25 seconds.
It's pretty loud.
I love how intuitive it is to use, actually. It's actually really simple to use. That's a fantastic watch.
And you see the perforation, of the case back.
Yeah, the double case back with the amplifying membrane as well, and it's even got a Revolution logo embossed on it as well.
Yeah, I love it. On a sandblasted base.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
So there you guys go, a watch that's intuitive to use. It actually has a pragmatic function, beautiful in design, offered in 2 sizes and 4 different colorways, and most importantly, a symbol of positivity. So I guess the last message we have for you guys is live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, guys.